Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Obviously, I've heard about this event and the importance of it, and it's been really important for Mark as well. I know he's had a chance to do this the last 4 years, and I was honored when he had asked me to come in his place. So, again, I appreciate the welcome. And one of the other reasons that I jumped at it was when they said, Harley Davidson Museum. I was like, okay, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, how cool is that? And it's sort of particularly cool for me, especially when you think of museums, you think of the history, what they represent, a lot of the key milestones that you can sort of observe as actually hopefully you guys all take advantage of that past and go look at the museum. I intend to as well. And a big milestone for Harley Davidson was 100 years. That was just in 2003. And that's actually when they came out with their 100th anniversary edition Harleys. And that happens to be one of my babies. So I was lucky enough to get this guy. It's a Heritage Springer, old school, 50s Springer front end, white walls, tricked it out, old school style. And, I've had this thing for years. So I've been riding a Harley since I was 21, I think. I hid it from my parents at first because they were still worried about me. A little bit different than the dirt bike I used to tool around on. Then I was pulling this together, I thought, there was actually, I actually had another baby in 2003. And that was a Stevie Jr. So actually here wearing his Harley helmet. And so it's interesting, and for me, Harley's not just about riding bikes, but it's about the experience I have. And, to think about, that year, that motorcycle, my son who's gonna turn 10 in about 3 weeks, again, it was just as I was building this, just sort of hit me how I thought proper it was, and again, just to let you guys know how honestly excited I am to be here and be here with you today. So that's Harley. There's another anniversary that's coming up, 25 years. That's Citrix. So believe it or not, Citrix has been around for 25 years, and just based on some of the discussions that I've had with many of you, it sounds like some of you folks have installed some of the first Citrix products. So the amazing thing about Citrix is really the longevity of the partnerships, and I think the dedication of the people who've been part of Citrix for so long. And when you think about Citrix's journey, it's been an interesting but very consistent one. Starting out with remote access, we were connecting people to remote applications, right? Many of you installed those products. Pioneering desktop virtualization and app virtualization and separating the physical from the logical. And then finally transforming workplace and workflow through mobile work styles, which is really what we're about today. And what I'd like to do is, spend some time really talking about Citrix in terms of our aspirations, what we're about, what we believe in, and then ultimately what's the technology we offer to support that. Now, the great thing about that is when you look across the entire 25 years, Citrix has really been about one thing, connecting people to information when they might be outside the traditional four walls of the enterprise perimeter, right? Connecting people to information, connecting people to applications. It's a very vogue thing now, but that is absolutely something that we've been about. That is core to who we are. Whether that's desktops, whether that's extending that leadership to mobile devices, that's what we've always believed in. And again, this vision in our 25 years has been supported by, and I'm sure you've heard these from Mark before, three of our core beliefs. Work is not a place. Simpler is better, and anyness wins. Any device, any app, any network, any cloud, anytime. I mean, we've always been about that. And so what's the magic behind anyness? What do you need to build in order to deliver that sort of seamless experience? And it goes to our vision of believing in a world where people can experience work and life their way. They don't have to be mutually exclusive phenomenons. And there's some great stories and examples in this presentation that I want to share with you that what I think exemplify not only that balance, but ultimately the impact that we're having on the people that you serve and the people that we serve, you being here in the room. And for us, it starts with one powerful idea, and that is mobile work styles. And when we talk about mobile work styles, we mean empowering people to work when, where, and how they choose. So to us, when we think about enabling that, does that mean? It's freedom to work from anywhere, not just work. You know, mobile work styles is about using any device you want, anytime you want, and letting that CIO, the IT executive, really be the great enabler of this new paradigm. It's accessing the important stuff, you know, when you need it, knowing that it's going to be safe and secure. It's seamless collaboration and sharing for all, regardless of location, regardless of time zone, regardless of where that data might be stored, on-prem, public cloud. The possibilities of redefining how we work today. And ultimately, this is, you know, my nod to Mark, I'm thinking of him, it's about making anything possible. You know, that's really what we're about at the end of the day. And why is that important? Well, we believe it allows people to work better. Mobile work styles, and Nick, you said it, you know, it's not, you know, just about the technology, it's about the company. And for us too, it's not just about the devices, it's about the people, right? That's how we view it, and they're about how people. Am I okay on the mic? All right, good. You don't want to be missing this. This is the good stuff. No, I'm kidding. And then, you know, with mobile work styles, people can become more productive, collaborative, creative. Now, there's one of 3 stories that I'm going to share with you that I think illustrates this. And this is Dr. Redmond Burke, Chief of Pediatric Surgery at Miami's Children's Hospital. And you'll see a story of how he's using Citrix technology ultimately to not only work better, but live better.
Got free PI after a transaction. We're going to take care of it.
You have to be an innovator to be a great surgeon. And if you do your job well, in one 5 or 6 hour operation, you can save somebody's life.
So he's got free PI after a transannular patch.
Surgery is all about precision. Information technology allows me to achieve that level of precision.
Looks good.
The baby's hearts are like snowflakes. They're never the same. And so they present a unique challenge. We capture images of all of our patients' operations, which hasn't been done before, and we store those in our electronic medical record. Citrix is now a daily part of my life. They're the engine that's running my information systems. When someone calls me and says, this patient is sick, what should we do? I need information about that patient. And it's there. I just have to be able to access it quickly so I can help somebody make the right decision. We generate so much data on our patients. It used to be extremely difficult to get that information. Call the hospital, have the nurse pull out the most recent laboratory values and read them to me. That took way too much time. People's lives are literally at stake here.
Okay, Chris, are we good? All right, we're going to make an incision.
If you're not striving to make yourself better and make your team better, you're going to lose people that you could have saved. I want to be with my family when they need me, but I don't want to leave my patients unprotected. Citrix technology enables me to access critical patient information anywhere, anytime, on any web-enabled device. We have an obligation as physicians to push forward with technology because we still can't cure everyone. My babies are the most important thing in my life. When I prepare to operate, I think of my children lying in bed at home, and I know how much of a life that child could have if he or she lives.
And there's probably some rule about like not making people cry during your presentation. And that one chokes me up, but you know, it's interesting. He said some important things. I want to be there for my family when they need me, but I don't want to leave my patients unprotected. Right? Citrix technology allows me to access information anywhere, anytime, on any web-enabled device. And Citrix is a daily part of my life, and it's just illustrative of, okay, you know, access to information on any device from any location, anytime. So we get the universal truths that come out of the technology and what we can enable, but to sort of see it in practice in this way, I think says a lot. And this is about working better, and ultimately working better, you know, has an impact. You know, what you guys do to enable you know, your employees has an impact, whether it's one or whether it's, you know, an entire generation of kids. And it also allows us to live better. So that was the work better, you know, and just sort of that moment when he's with his family. I mean, these are things that, you know, traditionally we wouldn't have been able to experience before. So when we talk about the new way of working and living, again, this is the higher order purpose that we aspire to at Citrix. And I know you can all relate. You all probably have, you know, your own stories. You know, this was one of mine. You'll actually see one of these slides in here. I was actually preparing for a presentation. The left-hand side is our Vice President of Marketing. The right-hand side is our VP of Product Marketing. That's me in the middle, and yeah, those aren't like hired models. Those are my 4 kids. You see Stevie with that big hair. I could barely get that helmet on him, that big curly hair. But it was interesting. I had to get away from the office. I had to get this thing done. It was a big industry analyst event, and I'm working from home. I just got to do it. And I was working, and then all of a sudden the door slammed open, and all 4 of my kids just like ran in, hugged me. You know, Daddy's, you know, they're young enough where Daddy's still cool. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, okay, whatever. But you know, my daughter's getting there pretty soon. She's turned 12. But it was great, and then they start going like, oh yeah, who are you talking to? What's going on? I was on a GoToMeeting, right? And we were sharing files, and we were collaborating and working real time. But it got me thinking about my dad, to be honest. He was, started out as a MIS director of IT, you know, eventual CIO in the Valley. And, you know, this was back in the day where, you know, he'd come home at 7:30 p.m., put down his briefcase, turn on Walter Cronkite or Dan Rather, and would sort of be done. You know, he never sort of made it home early. He never had that experience. He'd get a phone call in the middle of the night because something crashed, and he'd put on his clothes and he'd run back into the data center. And I'm sure you guys, a lot of you can appreciate that in this room, but it just got me thinking about how different, you know, life is today, where to have been able to experience that, I think says everything. But Dad also told me, he said, get into sales and marketing. Whatever you do, Steve, do not follow me. So anyway, so I listened to my dad. But this new paradigm, this new ways of living and working, you know, what's enabling it? You know, what's behind it? What's really behind all this is our ability to go mobile. You know, leverage the cloud, go mobile. And it's the old assumptions are changing. It used to be office. The new reality is mobile. It used to be company owned. The new reality is personal. It used to be wired. Now it's wireless. Prem has turned to cloud. Suites have turned to stores that we can provision and offer, and users can access and self-serve. This is the new reality. And when we think of defining mobile, you know, mobile really is many things, because we hear about enterprise mobility. It is the consumerization of IT and the expectations users have. When they have these very cool apps that they can use on their phone or on their iPads or on their laptops, you know, why can't their enterprise apps be the same? You think of the generations, the new employees coming into the workforce and their applications or their expectations. BYO, I mean, how many years ago we were saying, oh, BYO, that's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna let anybody use their own device on my network. It's like, you know, it's like shadow IT. That stuff just happens anyway. Collaboration, flex working, you know, work from home, go work at the restaurant, go travel, work out of the hotel, remote workforce, globalization. Obviously, security and compliance plays into this greatly. You know, how do we store records and access them in a way that meets both our security needs as well as compliance and governance? Disruptions, you know, when we have unexpected disruptions, and we see them in the world every day today, where, you know, something gets flooded, things go down, and you wind up having to work from somewhere you normally wouldn't to, you can still continue to operate your business, right? It doesn't have to disrupt the entire business. And that, I think, goes to business continuity. So those are the big drivers, and we see three primary areas that we really try to support and enable. How do we re-architect and mobilize the workforce? How do we think about the ever-changing workflow and accessing information from device to device and picking up on the same exact Excel cell that I left on my laptop at work? And then the workspace, again, digitally delivering that virtual workspace to any device. And that's what we see as our mobile work style strategy. And we offer that through a range of products, from collaboration to sharing, from our mobile platform MDM solutions, from our Windows as a service, whether that's traditional Zen desktop, Zen app, or moving that to an offering in the cloud networking, and then our cloud orchestration platform. And it's these things together which allow folks to either work from anywhere or IT to deliver service, IT as a service from anywhere, really ultimately be that service broker. And we'll go through and we'll talk about each one of these core categories. Now, when you think about them, how do we take those product groupings and really lay them out, from more of a end user to app perspective? And it is about supporting any device and any app, and doing this over any network. From a user perspective, we want to be able to deliver a seamless experience. So as they move from the device to device, as they move from network to network, it is similar, it is consistent, it meets their expectations. And then from a cloud perspective, how do you have a set of solutions that cover the entire stack in order to enable that? And then ultimately to have the right connectivity points, having a universal client and a secure gateway to make all the connectivity happen and truly enable delivery of cloud solutions to an end user with the seamless experience across all of that. One of the interesting things when you look at the market landscape from a business mobility perspective is there are a lot of different pieces. MDM, mobile app security, secure mail and web apps, networking, data sharing and collaboration, the virtualization pieces. And it's a pretty heterogeneous environment, where there are players in the market that are vertically focused in one of them, but maybe do not have the offering that spans multiple of these categories. Now, I joined Citrix January 2nd, so I'm going to hopefully see my first anniversary here soon. And one of the reasons I came here was because when you look across the stack, I think Citrix is in a very unique position, where we have all the pieces. So, our focus on making sure that these are integrated and seamless and work together and deliver the experience they need with the right technical solutions, I believe really sets us apart. And the good decided to, hey, I'm using Box, I don't need ShareFile, or I've made a decision on, going with one networking company for another, that's okay. I mean, obviously we understand that, we do live in a heterogeneous environment, and how do we align and add value across the stack, up the stack, and layer across other components that you might have. But from whatever you might have as a starting point, we can help go from there. And the other exciting thing when I looked at Citrix and had the honor of being chosen for this position is, this isn't just a slide they put up. I mean, we have key leadership in multiple of these categories. Nick had talked about this. Number 1 in desktop and app virtualization. Number 2 in cloud networking. Number 1 in public clouds. If you buy a book online, if you download a song, if you surf the web, you are doing that on Citrix equipment. And that's a really exciting thing to be part of. And then web collaboration as well. So now as we look across all of these, how do we map our solutions? And I first want to start with the universal client and the App Store. And then universal client for us is Citrix Receiver. And that's available on if you feel like a McDonald's sort of ad, like over 3 billion served, right? And actually probably more apps than that across all the devices, in the industry, the major ones. And It's available, and again, it's a seamless experience to access apps or desktops, whether it's on a Mac, whether it's on a PC, whether it's on a tablet, and whether it's on a smartphone. And it's exciting to be able to be working on a spreadsheet in your laptop, go pick up on a tablet, and you're literally in the same point. I don't know if you guys have Kindle or Kindle apps on your phone where literally you go to the same page you were reading on the other device. It takes you right there. So it's very seamless that way. Now what's important is what are the apps that we've been delivering historically, and that's been Windows apps, and we've been doing that with our flagship product, Zen Desktop. App and desktop virtualization, that really has been reimagined for mobility and cloud. Apps and desktop for a mobile world with that high definition native mobile experience on any device, and I'll show you some examples of that. Simple self-service for end users. There's a lot we've done to simplify the experience, improve the provisioning and the ongoing management of this product. Obviously, secure by design. So there's a lot of talk out there about security. The great thing is when it's virtualized and it's sitting in your data center, it never leaves. So again, it's just a virtual instantiation, a player, or an image of the data that's never leaving the data center. So secure by design. And then industry validated with over 24,000 products that are certified as Citrix ready. Simple deploy to manage and support. Now we've got the product down where you can deploy it through installation wizards in 20 minutes. We've simplified the administration. We've got it down from 22 to 2 consoles. So we've made great improvements in the simplicity. And then we've also re-architected it with a cloud platform service in mind. So whether that's premise and you're setting it up as a cloud service internally, or this is something that could be run on Azure or AWS or any other cloud. And we've re-architected this where you can do 90% faster app migration, 80% less time to publish apps, automatic install config check. So before I press click, it's going to let me know through AppDNA that there's no issues. And then we have the latest readiness for Windows System Server 12 and System Center. So this is a big release that we announced in the middle of the year. The other thing we announced was HDX Mobile. And again, how did we think of Zen Desktop in Zen app in the mobile context? And so it's important that we were able to deliver an HD video experience even over 3G. So we did some things in there where we could do that with half the bandwidth requirements, supporting that dynamic mobile experience and leveraging some of those key mobile attributes, whether they're scrolling or gesturing or using pop-up keyboards on a regular Windows desktop or apps. And then also using some of the functionality that would be native to devices like GPS, sensors, cameras. And we made this all available in a mobile SDK for our partners. So exciting thing is, again, it's desktops optimized for mobile. So rather than, the old look you might get, we really thought of what would this look like, how would this be ideal for a mobile setting. And again, it's context aware, so it'll configure, to the best possible scenario based on what device it's on. Again, touch-friendly enhancements, so leveraging keyboards, scrolling, gestures, and other things. And then this to me was a really interesting example. This is an electronic medical record, and this was a Windows-based, EMR app on the left-hand side, which again just almost looks like your regular spreadsheet. Through our SDK, a company was able to take it and create this beautiful experience on the right that many of our customers in healthcare are using. So again, just sort of night and day when you think about what we're able to deliver. And this was taking a legacy enterprise app and moving it forward into the mobile world. So leveraging that investment that was made. And all this is powered by our FlexCast, which again optimizes based on the type of use case, type of connection, what you're trying to do, where you can start with a single use case and obviously expand from there. So millions of apps delivered with Receiver, and those have been primarily Windows-based, and you can see how we're moving. There's going to be a long tail there, so how do we move those applications forward? But we understand that it's not just Windows out there anymore, right? You have Apple, you have Android, you have HTML5, and when you slap these things together, we actually call this guy the Critter. Looks like one of those little cartoons my kids watch, like Pokemon or something like that. And then how do we deliver that? We deliver that with a new MDM EMM offering that we call Zen Mobile. This is an acquisition we made at the end of last year and have it fully integrated into our suite of products today. And Zen Mobile really is a comprehensive MDM, MAM, enterprise mobility management solution where you configure, secure, provision, and support mobile devices. Again, across the entire life cycle chain, from enrolling to securing to provisioning to publishing, remote wiping, removing the device, all those things that you need to do. We've also enabled it, with our MDX technology. There's some great things where we have multi-factor single sign-on, so you can sign on once and not have to deal with passwords for every different application you might be running. We've made a unified corporate app store available, so we have, and I'll show you a slide in a second, many apps that are already Zen Mobile, we call it Works Ready. And this actually comes with a suite of mobile productivity apps, and I'll show you a couple of those. So I think everyone has a pretty good sense of how this works. You have your phone, and you have multiple apps on there, and some of them are work-related, and some of them are business-related, and that can get us into a pretty, what they call in SoCal, sketchy place, right? I think that's the word they might use, right? And these things would have access to each other. Facebook's always trying to draw off the data. It's trying to get into the Outlooks calendar. It's trying to do these different things. So with our MDX technology, we actually have the ability to wrap securely those applications that are meant for business and basically firewall them from your personal apps and accessing the other data. Right? And we do this in a way where we put them in secure app containers. We have inter-app controls, and you can set different controls by different apps. On-demand, app-specific micro VPNs. So each one of these have a VPN associated with them. In-app lock and wipe. So all the things that you would expect from a base level mobile device management. We also have a suite of productivity apps. So secure mail, secure calendar, contacts, a secure browser. So you open up that browser and you can get right to the corporate internet. Which are intranet, which has been one of those issues. We've integrated this with ShareFile, so doc sharing, syncing, and editing. We've integrated with multiple third-party apps, which I'll demonstrate in a second, or I'll show in a second. And again, we have a single code-of-line SDK that allows vendors to basically get the benefits of the app wrapping technology as part of our solution. And we have, I think, by 3x the largest ecosystem of certified apps in the MDM space today. But you can see secure mail, calendar, and contacts integrated with your ShareFile, so everything is secure, nothing is leaving the corporate data center. Secure mobile web and browser, again, for intranet or other access. And we've actually taken some of our go-to products. We have Go-To Assist. We actually offer live integrated support. So the support technician can actually look at your phone and actually help guide you through what's going on, which I think is good, because I don't know how many of you or your support teams have got calls regarding the mobile devices. You can actually look at it, take control, and help solve the user problem. And again, over 100 work-enabled apps is part of our solution. And again, we understand that there are multiple apps out there that users want to use, that you have your users are bringing onto the corporate network, and you want to be able to protect those. And this is about 3 times the size of any other ecosystem in the MDM space. And I think that's basically a testament to Citrix. So now I'd like to talk a little bit about our sharing products, collaboration and sharing, and I'd like to start with another story that I think illustrates some of this technology. This is an interesting one where the design team for O'Neill, I don't know how much surfing you guys do up here, but O'Neill's a big sort of surfing company. They're in Southern California, but believe it or not, their design team is in Amsterdam. which again would have never probably ever happened before. But it's just a really interesting story of, again, how our technologies really support a new paradigm.
O'Neill is een merk van uitvinders, van doeners. Dan merk ik dat bouw je vanzelf een team van mensen om je heen. Dat is gewoon passie. Ik haal mijn inspiratie eigenlijk uit alles. Taal aantekenen, maar de laatste tijd omdat je heel veel digitale middelen hebt. Dus iedereen is heel erg beeld en geluid aan het verzamelen. Je kan het delen. Qua creativiteit en inspiratie. Citrix stelt ons in staat om ons te concentreren op ons creatieve proces. Ik werk samen met fotografen, met muzikanten, met designers, maar ook met IT'ers, techneuten, ontwerpers, programmeurs. Voor mij zijn het innovateurs, de mensen met grappige ideeën. Die oplossing die we hadden met Citrix om met de designers aan te kunnen werken in een netwerk. Op alle tools die de designers tegenwoordig al hebben, de smartphones, home network, of het gaat via mobile networks, de tablets. Alles werkt met alles. Dat is de manier hoe we samen moet worden. Dat is de nieuwe manier van werken. Ik vertrouw erop dat we met technologie en goede ideeën elkaar plek gunnen op de wereld en alleen tot goede dingen kunnen komen.
Man, that last scene is awesome, huh? I'd be so scared to do that, but it looks cool. But it was interesting. It's an interesting story. This is the new way of working. You walk a path you wouldn't on your own. We're always sort of stronger when we're together. With technology and good ideas, we'll share this world together and we'll achieve great things. I mean, there's no better way to sort of talk about sharing and collaboration and ultimately the impact it has, I think, than illustrated through a story like that. And starting with those, that takes us to our sharing product, and that's called ShareFile. And ShareFile allows you to send, share, and sync files really, again, from any location. It's follow me data across any device. It's encrypted in transit. It's encrypted at rest. Remote wipe and account locking if needed. So again, this was built with the enterprise in mind and solves a lot of the Dropbox problems you might have around security. We've also made versions of this that are HIPAA compliant, focused for law firms. There's a lot of interesting things we've done here. You can use on-premise storage. You can also use different zones and leverage public cloud storage as well with the same level of security. You can integrate it with SharePoint and your other network drives. And it's also great as you use the application itself. You have content editing. You can check in a doc, check out a doc, and track it that way. So again, with storage zones, this technology really allows you to have the flexibility to choose where the data is stored. And we know that the world is hybrid, so there's some data that you just never want to leave your side. I'm going to store it here. I never want it leaving the building, but there's other things that I'm happy to, or I feel safer storing on a public cloud, and you can do that while having a single pane of glass, understanding where everything is. And actually moving it around if you need to. We ensure full security and compliance and place files and folders, close to the users. Again, it gives you the flexibility to do that. The content editing capability, again, pretty interesting, where you could do all the things you normally would. So it's a full content editor when you're pulling up a document. And even, if you have a stylus, free-form PDF annotation, there's an entire market around sort of digital signatures, and you can actually use it that way as well. So really interesting little tools there. And again, it's built for teams in mind, so you can share the content, you can check it in, check it out. I use this all the time to send information to my teams. Ready for mobile, again, it has that native mobile experience as well as the editing capabilities, and you can integrate it across multiple applications. The other collaboration offering that we have is the GoToMeeting. I'm sure you guys are up late at night watching ESPN. You probably see the commercials going, right? It's like going really? Another GoToMeeting commercial? Can I please show some other products, but it's part of our SaaS business, and it's number 2 in the market and continues to do well. And really is online meetings made easy. Use this as a tool all the time. When I'm traveling, I'll use it to talk to the family. It's work face to face with anyone. Great video resolution. There's just something about being able to see people, and collaborate, put up a PowerPoint slide. You saw my own example and walk through it no matter where they are. They were in Florida, I was in California. It works. Simple to use and is available across multiple devices. And it really is built for mobile too. So it's just amazing to be sitting in an airport, plug in my headphone, using the camera, and actually having a full meeting that way. And then what we found was, okay, meetings are good, but when you sort of look at the full life cycle of program management or how we all work together, there's tasks that get assigned. There's discussion, an ongoing discussion, even when the meeting ends, that needs to happen. There's activities that need to be tracked. There's data that needs to be shared. And we call this social collaboration. And we acquired a company the year before last called Podio, which really, Podio is actually Latin for platform. And it really is a platform, social team collaboration, and it was built with mobile in mind. It has sort of an interesting Facebook-like format as well. But this is where, all the information could be for a specific project. All the tasks are listed. You could be in there and you can chat, or you can pop out to email, or you can fire up a GoToMeeting. This is actually how we run our company, and we track approvals. So if there's a decision that needs to be made on a product phase gate or product release, the information will be there. We can review it, ask questions, and we can check approval on it as well. So it's a really handy tool. We're seeing great growth out of this. And again, this is interesting where you can invite users. Again, this is something where with everything else you can add apps and use different apps. Let me pull in an Evernote and use that since that's our standard for note taking, and connect to different services. So again, a really powerful collaboration tool. So GoToMeeting, Podio, and then finally we had mentioned this before, GoToAssist. It's really important that as you embrace mobile, and as you use these devices out there and you use them for increasingly more important tasks, that you have support built in order to make sure everything runs well. So now I'd like to share one more story. Actually, I'll have 2 more. There's a cool rapper at the end here. I don't mean like rapper, like somebody who's gonna rap, but there's like a nice rap story. This is probably one of my favorites. This is Medellin, Colombia, and actually how they were able to transform their education system by actually deploying NetScalers and then using a Zen desktop as well. So for all of us who are sort of old networking guys, and I've been doing it for a while, you never sort of think about this type of impact that putting out and racking up some networking gear could do. So let's roll this one.
Medellín como ciudad ha tenido que lidiar con problemas serios durante mucho tiempo. Pero gracias a la tecnología, estos problemas están desapareciendo. Hoy en día está reconocida como la ciudad más innovadora del mundo. Esta transformación se debe a nuestra infraestructura y a nuestro trabajo en educación. Lo primero que hicimos fue invertir en computadoras y el acceso virtual a aplicaciones. Lo que nos atrajo de Citrix fue que nos dimos cuenta que nos entendían, que éramos un equipo. Con Zen Desktop, cuando se actualiza un nodo, se actualiza la plataforma entera, lo que permite que los 400.000 estudiantes de toda la ciudad tengan en forma inmediata el mismo acceso a la misma información. No hay estudiantes con más oportunidades que otros. Esto significa que el Departamento de Sistemas ya no tiene que administrar las escuelas una a una, ahora en cambio puede enfocarse en objetivos mucho más estratégicos. También hemos reducido el consumo de energía en un 25%, reduciendo el desperdicio de material electrónico en un 50%. Como pueden ver, el pasar de un sistema antiguo a un sistema nuevo y eficiente tiene muchos beneficios, tanto financieros como humanos. Es por lo que Medellín será una ciudad digital mundial en el 2016. Razón por la cual estos niños y niñas se graduarán con una visión diferente de lo que es la vida.
Yeah, I love that last shot with those two girls. It's a great story. And again, some important things. Medellin had to deal with serious problems. Through technology, those problems are disappearing. And I know these are sort of interesting stories and use cases, but if you think ultimately about the applications and what we're delivering, I mean, they obviously have wide application, but it's just interesting to see the impact, right? We were drawn to Citrix because we found they understood us. We were a team. And, we believe, and this is it's something that Mark quotes often, that you can only, you have to create value. You have to create value. You can only monetize it by creating it first. And we do that, with great partners like EDCi. We are about teaming as a company. It's the DNA. And for those of you who've been around Citrix for a while, you probably know that almost, better than me. Going to a new system had human benefits, both financial and human. And these boys and girls will graduate with a very different vision of what life's about. So just think about the difference technology can make. It's pretty amazing. And so, when we look at the networking product line, and actually my favorite shot on all those videos, just those NetScalers going boom, boom, boom. I love that. That was really good. But this is a part of our business that's been growing well. I think we're growing 40% year over year. I think people, it's just a differentiated product with some very good technology. The best way to really optimize and secure your cloud services. It's application delivery controller, that delivers app delivery with the best performance and reliability. That has physical, virtual, and multi-tenant offerings. That allows full app layer security and visibility. Cloud scale elasticity and expandability, and I'll show you those. HDX Insight Analytics, so it's integrated into Zen Desktop, so you can get unique insight into how that's performing, so we can ensure that user experience. And then obviously it has all the access security that's required. And one of the big differentiations we have is what we call our tri-scale technology. The ability to scale up in size, pay as you grow. The ability to scale in and consolidate multiple application delivery services down to a single instantiation, or scale out clustering. So 5x pay as you grow. I can start small and grow 500% as needed. 40-to-1 consolidation of different delivery services. And finally, clustering, scaling out, being able to add and go to, an N-way of 30x, 32x. And it's also open now for third-party services. So with the SDX capability and the ability to consolidate, 40-to-1 services down to the single platform, we can host other network services, whether they be next-gen firewall, whether they be proxy services, what have you, firewalling, antivirus. So a great way to reduce the device sprawl and really get the efficiencies out of our platform. So we're excited, and this list continues to grow. Our other product in our networking portfolio is CloudBridge, which is our WAN optimization product. So again, allowing for data center to data center optimization for backup, for DR, data center to branch, to optimize those applications, CIFS, MAPI, SharePoint, video. And data center to public cloud, and doing it in a way that it ensures security as well. So when you come back and you look at the complete stack, again, from a networking perspective, NetScaler, we do have a product called Platform, which you'll find in many of the big public cloud vendors that offer cloud orchestration. Zen App and Zen Desktop for Windows apps virtualization. Zen Mobile for native mobile apps security. And then when you look at sharing and collaboration, a whole suite of products to really enable the new way of working. with a universal client as well as an access gateway to deliver that full seamless experience from end user to any app over any device in any network. So now we started with the Dr. Burke video, and this one I sort of call, you know, everyone has that Blu-ray behind the scenes. You watch a really killer movie, and then you're like, man, I wonder how they made that. Like, you know, and then they show Superman on the green screen and, you know, in the wind tunnel, and you sort of see the behind the scenes. So this is actually the behind the scenes. I call this like the real heroes. So, you know, when we think about these stories, they're great and they feature people in an amazing way, but you know, who was enabling this? Who are the people behind the scenes that set up this infrastructure so Dr. Burke can do what he needs to do and do it so well and help save lives or impact a generation like we saw in Medellin? So all of these stories have heroes. Here are the heroes of the Miami Children's Hospital story.
Many of the children that are transferred here are considered cases that will not survive if they stay in their location, whether it's in the United States or whether it's outside the United States. Other hospitals, other children's hospitals will send us cases. We do not send cases out. The buck stops here.
We have the expertise and the technology to be able to serve these children's needs whenever they need us. We've enabled access to information that's capable of being transmitted to any provider anywhere, so you can coordinate the care. A lot more of the electronic medical record today is about devices, physiologic monitors, x-rays, CAT scans, MRIs. So what we have done here at Miami Children's is able to integrate any data that's needed for patient care.
In the past, there were paper charts. When you came to see a patient, you had to look for the chart. Sometimes the nurse had the chart, sometimes the medical student had the chart, sometimes the resident had the chart. Citrix has done a complete shift for us. And it's been one of the greatest things we did at this hospital, because now we have electronic medical record. Now the doctor comes in, logs on a computer, and the need for the chart has been eliminated. On the front end, we have Zen Mobile, Citrix Receiver, and GoToMeeting with HD Faces. In the middle, we have Zen App and Zen Desktop, and on the back end, Zen Server and NetScaler. Physicians are demanding mobility. Most of these physicians use their iPads, a lot use their laptops. Some of them were logging in from the desktop from home, and regardless of what system they used, they had consistent performance and were always able to retrieve the data they needed. This is something that never existed in Miami Children's.
If you think about our core mission, it's to be able to be where the child is. That means bring the care when it's needed and where it's needed. We serve that need for South Florida, the Caribbean, and Latin America. But there's not enough of these providers being trained, so you need to deploy technology.
Dr. Rossi, I see you are there with Alexandra. I had an opportunity to review her records.
Telemedicine has now erased the need for the patient to come to the hospital. The hospital can now come to the patient.
Alexandra had a chest x-ray done this morning. Can you please bring it up so we can review it together?
Through Citrix, when they access the medical record, they can be anywhere, erasing geography and making the hospital come to the patient.
That's our ultimate goal, is to provide care wherever that child is. And we have set up a very powerful set of portals. This means the doctor, the patient and family, and payors are capable of accessing that data anytime, anywhere. I truly believe that this is necessary for our survival. I'm not sure a lot of the present care health model would survive in its present form. If you do not adapt and innovate, I don't think we will be around. So this is born of necessity.
Great. So I love that you can sort of see the behind the scenes, and yeah, I might have chosen them because they almost have every single product we offer. But I mean, it's a great example to sort of seeing that front end and the impact that what they're building and delivering is actually happening. So to see that full spectrum, at least to me, I think is an amazing and unique view, perspective. And you know, again, at the end of the day, it's not Citrix's story. It's their stories. It's your story. You know, that's what we're here to really follow and to support. And it's about the customer journey. And you know, when I think of journeys, it's probably my favorite slide there is, because that is a trusted partnership right there. And that's what I mean, right? They're probably taking turns. That guy's catching flies in his mouth. I mean, it's like an amazing thing. You know, and it's a trusted partnership. we have like the EDCi's and we have with you, we all have together. And that's what our aim is, to help sort of guide on whatever your journey might be. And when we think about it, we think of it in terms of, understanding the needs, whether it's running the business, or what are the things we just need to do, because we all have those things operationally, and ultimately, what are the things we can do to help transform the business long term, And we call this our value map, and this sort of, we debate these circles and they change. I mean, the circles will ultimately, would change over time and might be specific to industry or for customer. But the idea is if you saw that Miami's Children's Hospital, or if you actually saw the Medellin, they might have started with a simple, desktop virtualization or remote access, but ultimately they sort of moved up, up and to the right from a business transformation perspective to MDM, and then to embracing BYOs, and then to an entire sort of mobile workforce perspective where, again, workspace virtualization or workplace redesign or mobilizing the workforce or workflow transformation. And then there's a journey. And I think the important thing is no matter where we can start anywhere on this map and help guide. So, this map, and this is what we train our salespeople on. We sit down, we try to engage in conversations to really take the customer view. Not to say, here's what we do, go check it out, but to really understand what you're trying to do, and then in turn, how we could support it. So this reflects many successful customer journeys. And again, these are solutions that can be addressed via a single product, or maybe higher order strategic solutions that can be addressed with multiple products. And we can start anywhere on the map together, right? It's that journey. And then our solutions can expand as you need, as your needs grow, at your own pace, whether that's that tri-scale, flex, grow as you need, or how do I add pieces along that stack of enterprise mobility when I'm ready to do it, knowing that with Citrix, you won't have to change your architecture, you're gonna have a consistent experience, and somebody that holistically understands that entire value chain. And that's why we've pulled those pieces together. That's why we offer what we do. And ultimately, we see it as about delivering on the promise of mobile work styles, innovating to transform IT, market-leading portfolio of cloud solutions that provide business value. I like how Nick talked about that. It's the business value. Seamless user experience across every touch point. It's important, especially as you mobilize this world, that experience is consistent. Engagement, partner first, trusted advisors, to the customer journey. And that is how we view it. And then a vision, our vision really is embedded in everything we do. We believe in a company that promise of powerful new ways of working and living, and you just see that reflected in how we talk about the company and the products we build and the experience that we want to create. And again, what's exciting is seeing that vision or that promise come to life in so many of these stories. And we know there's more. We'll be telling more of these stories and sharing more of these stories because we believe, again, at the end of the day, that's the best reflection of who we are. It's not me telling you who we are. It's who they say we are. Right? So, cloud solutions that enable mobile work styles. You cross collaboration, sharing, MDM, EMM, mobile platforms, desktop virtualization, app virtualization, Windows as a service, cloud networking, and cloud platforms. And the exciting thing is, and I hope what you've seen through the presentation is, ultimately it's not about these different pieces. Citrix really is greater than the sum of the parts. It's how all these pieces can be put together to deliver that end-to-end experience. The people and users on one side, the apps and data on the other, with that infrastructure in the middle to connect them seamlessly to those. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time.